Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball, the weekly podcast where we sit down to discuss a couple big stories of the week, as well as talk about some stats, standings, and things like that. So today's episode, I think, is going to be a good one. Something that is going to sit here, and if you told me at the beginning of the year that we would have this conversation, I would say, no, I don't believe you. But we're here to talk about the San Diego Padres and the New York Mets, how much they have underachieved this year and how much really of a disaster they are. Because you think they spent $1 billion total this year on this offseason?
The Mets got the highest payroll in history, $350 million payroll.
Yeah, and how much of that was this? That is just for this year. Holy
Well,
moly.
let's take a comparison. Their record right now is 31-35. In Baltimore, 17 games over 500, and with 41 wins and like 23 losses or whatever, 24, and and they got like $70 million payroll,
Well,
maybe.
think of it. Put it in this perspective. Before beginning of the year, a lot of people said the Nationals would be a 100-loss team, and I don't necessarily think that's necessarily. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think probably more of a
They
90-loss
beat the
team.
Braves today.
The Mets have 5 more wins than the Nationals. The
Think about
Nationals
it.
only have a big payroll because of 2 players, really, and who one only contributes. One who Steven Strasburg came out this week, who probably never pitch again because he has such
Right,
bad nerve damage.
right.
Which it's unfortunate for him. He's 34. He's kind of old now. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. Homeboy cashed in and left the building. But
I mean, he didn't do it on purpose. I mean, just happened.
how many innings has he pitched since he signed the contract?
I think he's only pitched like 4 or 5 games. Seriously.
But taking a look here again at the New York Mets again, they're 31-35, 2-8 in their last 10. Their run differential, which again, as I say every week, that's a big what do you call that tells you how the season's going for them and how good they actually are. They're negative 23, so their record's right where
They're
it
hitting
should be.
you can say they're just bad all the way around. You look at their numbers, they're batting 240 as a team. That's 13th out of 15 teams. They're 7th in, wait a minute, they're 7th in walks, 7th in steals. That's okay. They've been shut out 7 times this year. They only shut out 8 times all of last year. They're 12th in on-base percentage of 15 teams. They're 10th in slugging if they didn't have Alonso. But, offensively, you got to look at Lindor. He has not produced
Who?
whatsoever. Lindor.
Who's that? I never
France.
see him in the stat line.
Oh, yeah. He since he come to the Mets, his first year, about 230. 270 last year and 216 this year. Alonso's hitting 231. Granted, he's got some power. McNeil hitting way under his career is batting 274. But so their offense sucks. I mean, they don't have a catcher. That little chubby Alvarez, they hope he's going to be good, but he's too little to be too good. Their pitching's 13th in ERA, 4.69. They're 11th in WHIP. First in home runs against. They've given out their pitching staff's given out the most home runs. Their batting average against is 11th out of 15. When you look at their pitchers, you got Carrasco 5.71 ERA, 140 plus WHIP. McGill 5.14 ERA, 1.7 WHIP. Scherzer 3.71, way higher than he's ever been. For extended period, 118 WHIP. Senga's doing good, 334, 138 WHIP though. And Verlander, 7 starts, 485 ERA, and a
Let me tell you
130.
something I looked up about Verlander the other day. His fastball's down 2 miles per hour from what it was in 2018. So, and it's still 94, but he's usually a guy who's hitting 97, 98. And he
He's
still might
old.
touch that, but he's 40 years old. I kind of figured that would happen. They're just so old. They banked onto this geriatric team.
In our reviews or previews of the teams, didn't we say that they're going to hit a wall, the old guys, at some point?
Yeah.
I think they're hitting that wall.
As do I. I just, oh, well, so what do you think? What can they do to right the ship this year? And I think it's, I don't know what you can do. I think they're going to fire Buck soon.
Yeah, they got to change something.
I think by the All-Star break, if they haven't turned around, I think they'll fire him over the All-Star break.
Because they better do it sooner than later.
Well, I mean, they're reeling right now, and then I think if it still doesn't come around, I think Scherzer's going to be gone. if someone will take the contract, and I think Verlander would look to be gone because if they don't trade off
Well,
their big
they
assets
probably
now,
they probably got no trade contract and clauses, and if they trade him, they probably got to pay him to get
who the
out.
I'm sorry, who the hell is David Peterson, and why is he in the bigs?
And what's
What's he
his
on?
average there?
So he's 1 win, 6 losses, 8.08 in 39 innings, and he's
I
a
mean, he's
starter for
pitched the
him.
last few years and did a lot better than that. They got issues, man. I mean, it's and
Tyler McGill, another starter, over 5 ERA, 63.
yeah, I went over that. Their their pitching's atrocious, and they
That's the problem.
Diaz is their closer. But hell, from what these starters do, they probably never need a
Well,
closer
he
much.
no, he's not playing this year. You don't remember WBC?
No, no, I said I know, but that's because he's
Oh,
hurt. But they, Robertson's got 10 saves, I believe. But
yeah,
uh,
he's 10 save or he's 10 saves, two blown saves, 1.9 ERA. So he's good. Adam Ottavino has 5 saves, but he's over 4.2. Brooks Raley's doing good. Brooks Raley's old too, though.
they're
Drew
all old,
Drew
and
Smith,
then
another guy out of the bullpen,
all their
4.1.
yeah, all their prospects are suspects. None of them
Tommy
do anything.
Hunter is there.
Yeah,
All right,
he couldn't cut it when the Orioles were bad, and they blew him out.
6.8 ERA. I'm looking at some of these guys. You got Nogasek. Did you mention him earlier?
No,
5.6 ERA. I mean, they can't pitch. That's their problem.
no, and they can't hit. Take Alonso out of there, and they got nothing.
Well, Alonso's boom or bust this year.
Oh, no. And
Who do you think
well,
their best hitter is this year? Or
probably McNeil or somebody.
Nemo. He's
Oh, that's
280.
right. I forgot about
He's
him.
a
I
high
like.
he's a highest hitting guy at 280. And I remember I think beginning, or was it last year? Mark Cannon went there last year.
Yeah, he's only about 240 something, I believe.
But it's who he is, really.
He's always been a spot player anyway. Platoon.
Yeah, no one's going to take Lindor.
You
His
know,
contract's too high. Pete Alonso, um, I don't. They're not hitting.
like you said, boomer bust. Hey, just remember. So I think Lindor's already struck out 63 times and just over 200 at bats.
Yep.
But I'll give you a stat that'll blow your mind here in a minute about strikeouts when we get to the Padres, because I almost my jaw dropped when I saw this.
The Padres are the third worst hitting team in baseball.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
they're one of the
With
best
the
pitchers.
talent that they have offensively, for them to be that crappy is shocking.
Well,
And
we'll go
Bob
for that in a
Melvin is
minute.
on a short leash too. But yeah,
Someone, yeah, we'll get them in a minute. I got something to
I
pick on
think
you
I know what
about.
you're going to say. You're going to talk to me about my boy.
That's right, and
Mm, all right.
he's on a
We're
record.
on the Mets still. Speaking of Pete Alonso, his last 7 games, he's hitting 174. So even he's not doing good anymore. And I don't think they're going to turn it around. The division, the
They're
Braves
not
aren't.
going to beat the Braves. We said that before the season.
They're
It's
not going to beat
not
the
going to
Marlins either, apparently.
happen. And the Phillies are turning around a little bit. But see, they're inconsistent. But like we're going to talk about the Padres and the Mets, they're very inconsistent.
Yep.
Then in Atlanta hadn't even hit their stride yet.
No,
Atlanta, they're not playing as good as they should. They got a lot of key injuries, and they're still way out in front. You
yeah.
know.
So I think we're in agreement here. There's not much they're going to do to turn it around this year. And I think they're going to have a fire sale. I think Buck's going to be gone at the
Well,
end of
they
the year.
said the owner. I was reading a article from I guess New York Post, maybe one of them up there, and he said that there's not going to be a fire sale. They're not. They're not blowing the team up.
Why?
I don't know.
That's just
Probably
what sense does that make?
because
It's
they're
not
going to
like
get
they're
they're going to have to pay their salaries and get rid of the players too. That's what's going to happen. Just like McCann, I think the catcher McCann they had, I think his contract's $5 or $6 million a year. And what I understand, the Orioles are paying $1 million, and the Mets are paying is kind of like Billy Bean told David Justice in the movie. There, you remember what he say?
the
He said,
Yankees think so little of you. They're paying us for you to play against them.
right, exactly, and that's what's going to happen.
There's no help on the horizon for them either, though. Is there?
Not really. Like I said, they're prospects or suspects. There's not much there.
I'm looking here. They're so the I guess the first quarter season is they had their prospect rankings and they're top half of the league. I'm just trying to see how many top they
Well,
were
you get the
seventh
top
and
half
they
of the
dropped
league,
to
but
13th. They have three tier one guys. It says let me see. Alex Ramirez takes over the number one spot. He's hitting 260, but he's in high A, so he's 2 years off. Mike Vasil's been limited by injuries. He's 23 years old. He's in Double A. He has a 2.1 as of beginning of last week, or I guess last month. But they're just middle of the road, and on.
Yeah, Brett Beatty come up. And he's been good in spurts. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
Alvarez, when I see him, I've never been impressed as much as they are. I don't see much for pitching help for them. I don't. They're going to have, they need to do a Houston, Baltimore type blow up and turn them around, because they're,
yeah.
but they're bad. But yeah, they might be
Speaking
doing
of
Buck a
bad,
favor getting rid of him.
yeah, I feel bad. I don't think it's a Bucks problem, but moving on here to the second most, I guess, probably the most. I don't know. Who do you think's more disappointing, the Padres or the Mets?
I think the Padres, man, because I think they get more talent.
I do too. I really do. Because
But let
speaking
me,
of, let's speak about a couple of their players here. I'll tell you, their quote unquote best players. Xander Bogaerts is hitting 258. Juan
well, hold on.
Soto.
With 7 home runs and 21 RBIs, he got that huge contract, 21 RBIs. But that is directly related to their 15th in batting average, 228 hitting batting average, 228.
Terrible.
Their on base percentage is 317, 13th. But
Well,
on the flip side, their pitching ERA is second best in the league. Their defense is the best in the league. Their WHIP is first in the
I
league.
think they have a better chance to turn around because of that. If their pitching stands out, I mean, realistically, Bogart, Soto, Tatis, Machado, they're 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 gonna
They're
heat
killing
up.
Cronenworth ain't hitting. They got no hitting at catching. And then they play people like Odor and Nelson Cruz. Is Cruz
And
hitting at all?
Gary Dirty Sanchez.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that. They signed him. How bad are you to sign that piece of crap?
Isn't it like he's
Carpenter.
13?
In Carpenter, when we
Huh.
talk about
Who said that
effect.
at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, when he's a Yankee, he was amazing, and he's never been amazing anywhere. Now he's back to normal, hitting 195. In Grisham, they play him. He's always been a Nationals favorite, and anybody that knows baseball knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's hitting 194, 194, and he starts. Sanchez is probably a 200 lifetime hitter. And why in the hell would you have Odor anywhere? I
And
mean,
Nelson Cruz,
yeah, what's he hitting? Any idea?
238,
Yeah, and he
with
couldn't hit last year.
one home run. You don't have Nelson Cruz for anything else apart from home runs, but
Right.
homeboy's your age.
Yeah, they
Big
need to
Bone.
get rid of him and bring some young kid up that and anyway. And but I wanted to talk about Machado, your preseason MVP guy. He's batting 244. Terrible. 6 home runs, 21 RBIs, 102 strikeouts. A
Wait a
hundred
minute. Hold on. I need to
just
double check that.
yeah. In 200, just over 200 at bats, he struck out almost 50% of the time.
Okay, you got wrong information.
Well, that's what it said. What is it?
100. I'm seeing 193 at bats, 44 strikeouts.
Okay, well, I
Because
don't know what.
if your stat is correct, I can see your outrage there.
Yeah,
He's on pace for like 240 strikeouts.
yeah. But he's a joke this year. Soto,
What happened?
he,
What do you think's going on with it? He's got to be hurt. He's been in the league a decade. He's never done this.
I
Never.
know. And Soto, since last year, he hadn't been worth a crap.
Can't play on the West Coast.
Pardon?
Can't play on the West Coast.
Yeah, he couldn't play in the East Coast, and I can't play. Yeah,
Well,
258 and 10 home runs, and he should have took the money Nationals offered him because it'd have been highway robbery. Because I don't see how anybody, 1 year, okay, maybe have a down year, but 2 in a row, there's a trend here. Yeah, he's young. He could turn it around, but why would you give him a $300 million? Or didn't the Nationals offer him like $300 million, and he turned them down? Well,
he
his agent's an
as
idiot.
people say, and I don't like this word, but I'm not gonna use it. He lost probably more money than any player in recent history they can think of. Because and if someone really decides to give him that big of a contract, they're wildly. He's gonna
They're
get
ignorant.
what he should get, and if he's smart and his agent's smart, I would say give me a 1 year, $20 million deal. Go prove it.
They may have to do that. A
Because
bridge
if
deal.
he and then if he hits, say he hits 280 with 35 home runs, then he'll get that. Someone will give him that 300 million. But
Yeah.
right now, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't.
Before last year,
You're paying for potential more than you're paying for results.
right? I mean, he may have peaked already. You know,
Well, shit. I mean, he's
something's wrong with him.
24. I,
Because he was
but
great with the
every
Nationals.
single player, if you look at every single player, once they go to San Diego, their batting average drops.
Mm-hmm.
That's coaching. I don't think they have good coaching there. Bob Melvin is maybe he wins with
He used to
ragtag
get a
guys.
lot out of a little.
That's what I mean.
Nobody.
Maybe he wins better with ragtag guys, kind of like Buck when he was in Baltimore. He won with piss poor, ragtag bunch of players.
Right, right.
Maybe he doesn't know how to deal
But
with
you know
these
what?
superstars.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk about them, but yeah, they destroyed that organization by the way they ran it, Duquette and Buck. So you can say what you want. They got them good for a while, but they sacrificed the future. That's what Orioles stunk for so long because they run them in the ground.
I still like Buck Shorter though.
Well, he's never won anything, and he proved he can't manage in the clutch with his Buck Britton, Britton, what he did in the playoffs when he didn't use him. He was saving him for what? You got to deal with what's happening now. What might not happening later. Like
I
tonight. Did you watch the Boston Yankees? They were tied, and they brought Jensen and Kinley, and and I was listening to the Boston radio as I was watching on TV, and they said, well, they're bringing him in, but what if they get a run next inning and they need for a save? Well, it worked. They had the heart of the Yankee order, who Aaron Judge is hurt again, and not telling when he's coming back yet. Um, they said that was a good move, and it was. And they put in Smith or somebody and got the save and beat the Yankees
do you know
2 out of 3.
a more recent team that the Padres and the Mets remind me of, and I'm gonna see if you agree. If you go back to just a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, the Miami Marlins. Remember they had that dream team with Ozzie Guillen as the manager, and they had Giancarlo Stanton, Emilio Bonifacio, Hanley Ramirez, Jose Reyes, Carlos Lee, and pitching staff. They had Mark Burley, Josh
Then lasted
Johnson,
about half a year, right? And they blew it up.
Nathan Eovaldi, Anibal Sanchez,
Well,
Zambrano, and
they used
boom.
to do that, when probably before you were old enough to know, but they would get a bunch of studs. They won 2 World
Yeah.
Series that way, and then they'd blow
They
them up.
won. They won 69 games that year, and I think it's kind of like these dream teams that don't work. You look in football when the Philadelphia Eagles said they had a dream team, they were terrible that year. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I think the Padres have a better chance of turning it around because I think at some point their bats are going to heat up. I mean, it's inevitable that they're going to heat up. All these guys, apart from maybe Soda, who's had a couple bad years, none of them. I mean, they're all.
Their
They've
track record says they're better. Yeah,
Machado when he's on, which he's been on the last 10 years, he's he's arguably a top 10 player, top 5 player in baseball.
yeah, because now we're 60+ games in. You know, you're going to have to start doing something soon. It's kind of like who's the hottest player you've noticed lately? Gunnar Henderson.
We'll get
He
to
was,
him. We'll get to him. We
yeah.
got about one more minute here, so give me your closing thoughts about the Padres and the
Well, I've
Mets.
been saying for weeks the Mets pitching staff's pitiful before I even checked the numbers, and I didn't see it. And when you depend on these old guys, they're going to hit a wall, and they've hit the wall. Scherzer may come back. Verlander, never been a big fan of his. But you don't. I wouldn't give these old guys money, man.
Mm-mm.
You know.
Nope, nope,
So,
nope, nope. But
and the Padres, yeah, I can't believe they're with that pitching and defense.
I think in that division, though, it won't take too much for them. I mean, apart from the freaking Diamondbacks, which
Dodgers
no one expect. Dodgers
and
are
the
good,
Dodgers.
but Dodgers are reeling right now, though, and we'll get to it when we talk about standings. But
So
I
the
think the
Dodgers are. Wait a minute, the Dodgers are. Huh.
yeah,
Okay. No. Okay.
still in second place though, T Bone. All right, and they're still 37-29. So
Yeah, it's coming back the other way, isn't it? They piece their stuff together, man. You look at the guys they pitch.
we'll
But
talk
they're
about it when we
well.
get to them. Let's go over the standings real quick. Here, let's talk about the AL East real quick. The most competitive, best division baseball for the first time this entire year. The first time doing this podcast, I can finally say that not every team in that division is over 500.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. No. Well, not over, but one's at 500.
So you got the Tampa Bay
Hey,
Rays.
yeah, that is a preview to the championship series, maybe
No, the
today.
preview of the championship series is what we at Brooks News Baseball Hall said were going to be the Baltimore Orioles versus the Texas Rangers. So that's what the
Yeah, because what people need to be scared of, like the general manager of Baltimore said, he said, I got a lot of young guys here, and they're going to get better. They're not getting worse.
I
So
agree.
they and
And
they got
reinforcements will come,
they
and we'll
got
talk
more
about that in a minute.
talent to trade than anybody in baseball.
Yep.
So
So going on Tampa Bay Rays, they're 48-20, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won their last game, 140 plus run differential, and they're playing Oakland. So expect their win ways to continue. Although Oakland won 5 games in a row and just won their second series, so that's maybe they're turning a corner. Probably not. They'll probably get put back in reality this
well,
week.
hey,
But
speaking of that, did you see they may not be moving after all because Las Vegas ain't going to approve in that stadium deal.
yeah, we'll see if that happens. But
Well,
going to
because they said they did the hockey, they did the football. There's only so much money to go around, and
we'll see. Baltimore 41-24 after a bad week. I'd say a bad week last week.
what
They
their
won
last 10 games are like 7-3, dude.
6-4, and they've won 4 in a row though, so that's awesome. They needed that. They needed this weekend.
Thank God,
Royals.
City's in the league.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kansas City is a good
They
remedy
make,
for a team that's on the run. And then you
yeah,
got the New York Yankees. They are
lost again tonight.
38-29, 9.5 games back from the Rays. They're half a game up on the wild card. They're 4-6 their last 10. They got the Mets coming up, so predict them to right the ship. Then you got the Toronto Blue Jays. I would say are
They're reeling.
yeah, and no, not really. They're 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, but they're it's going to fall. Manoa when they're studs. He's an A ball.
No, he's in rookie ball. They sent him to the
Uh,
complex league. They didn't send him to Dunedin. They sent him to
there
the
must be something.
complex.
Well, he wasn't doing good, but I bet it was. I mean, he's out of shape. That's
They
obvious.
put him on the South Beach diet. He's just fat ass in shape.
Yeah, because he obviously don't give a shit about baseball. He wouldn't be that fat. Him and that catcher.
That's what I
Two,
heard. They said his big problem is last year he was a slow moving pitcher, and because really, I mean, I can say it. I'm not the trimmest guy in the world, neither are you, T-Bone. But they said he was smooth and slow. Now the pitch clock, he's got to move fast, and he's just out of shape. Think of that. How bad that is. You're a professional athlete. You're that out of shape. But
yeah,
baseball,
that's
you
that.
see more fat guys
People.
in baseball than you do in football. Football, there's no hardly any guys who are disgustingly obese. And I'm not saying Manoa is disgustingly obese, but like someone like Rowdy Tellez, that dude is disgustingly obese.
What about Vogelsong or Vogelbach?
Vogel fat.
Yeah,
We're gonna
I
get
mean,
trouble. We're gonna fat shaming these guys, but it's
yeah,
okay if
but
it comes from a fat guy.
they disgrace the game of baseball. I mean, they got enough money to have personal trainers. They got everything, and to be that out of shape. Look, I mean, have a little pride. Come on, man. You're in front of millions of people every night on TV and stuff, and you don't even care. That means that's why they're not good because they don't give a crap, or they get in better shape. I mean, look at your stars. Is Aaron Judge probably not an ounce of fat on that man? You
No,
know, look at Gunnar
finishing
Henderson, the future rookie of the year. Look at him.
finishing up
So,
here with the AL East. You got the Red Sox who are 33-33, just at
hey,
500, 4-6.
speaking of the Red Sox, though, tell her about Chris Sale, 60-day disabled list. Again, what a wasted contract for them.
He
They're a
cut up his
star.
jersey when he heard that.
I don't know, but they're done.
Going
They
to
beat the Yankees because Yankees suck too.
going to the worst division in baseball, from the best division to the worst division, AL Central, where the Minnesota Twins are just 500, but they're sitting in first place.
Yeah, who'd they beat the last 2-3 games? What is it? Who'd
I
they
don't know.
play? They beat someone decent.
With the Houston,
No, Cleveland beat Houston today. I thought
because
the Tampa and them played right. Didn't they?
no, Tampa played Texas.
No, Tampa Bay. I meant Toronto. Sorry.
Maybe Toronto, because I know Correa hit a grand slam today, but they still lost today.
About
Uh,
time. And speaking of Minnesota, Buxton hurt again. Again.
well,
Why?
that's probably good for the team.
What? I mean, and they don't even play him in the field anymore. So what you're paying
Minnesota's
him all
big
that
problem
money to be a
is
225 lifetime hitter or whatever hell is not much. Everybody. Oh, he's a great player. Yeah, really? Well, what's your motto on availability?
well, he has the best abilities availability, but he's not. He's never had one season. The closest he had was the COVID year where he played like half the games, but I mean that's only like 30 games.
Uh huh.
That's the time he really got his contract there, because he looked really, he was an MVP type player that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, then moving down, you got Cleveland Guardians who are 6-4 in their last 10. They
Bieber pitched 7 shutout innings yesterday. He looked
I'm
really good.
thinking the Guardians will win that division.
They were Chicago.
Chicago, no. Chicago is no. I don't no.
Chicago's playing
I
good.
I think Cleveland is better. They got better pitching staff, and I remember people saying Shane Bieber's
They
going.
do.
Shane Bieber ain't
They,
going to be available. There ain't no way in hell
no,
he's going to be available.
no, because Francona, he's always there.
Speaking of Francona, I just watched Fever Pitch, and Francona won the World Series in that movie. So then you got the Shy Sox, who are 6-4. They lost 2 in a row. They're playing the
The
Dodgers.
pale
So
hose.
Who?
The Pale Hose.
I guess you want to call them that. The Detroit Tigers are the only team in baseball who have not won a game in June. They, what's going on with them? They've lost 9 in a row, and they got
They look like
Atlanta.
they were coming.
They were
Well, hey,
like
their best pitcher's gone.
was it
Rodriguez, he's hurt or something again. So
so their rebuild looked like it was on schedule, and now it looks like it's been derailed at this point of the season. Then you got the Kansas City Royals, who are it's rough, man. I think
that team,
they're who's worse, them or the Athletics.
athletics, but it's close.
The
But
Athletics are only
that
a half game behind them.
Kansas City's got a lot of prospects. But
But it's
to
like Kevin Brown, the Orioles broadcaster, was saying today. They're not producing. You got all these guys you drafted. They come up and they don't do anything.
what
Like
Bobby Winsgrave, he ain't doing jack.
no, you got MJ Melendez, who was supposed to be this big prospect, kills it in the minors, does nothing. He's hitting like just over 200. You got Nick Prado, who's known for his glove more so than anything else. You got Vinny Pasquantino, who's good. He's hurt
Well,
right now for a while,
Prado's doing all right.
but
He,
they're not hitting their potential what they should be. You got Brady Singer, who threw like 175 pitches in the first inning against the Orioles. He's a guy who always is like, oh, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's like John Gray was when John Gray was in Colorado. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. Well, he's not been good yet. Then you have Scott Bartlow, who today he got hammered today.
everybody
The
in their team got
only
hammered.
thing that you have on that team right now that's worth a crap, really, Salvador Perez.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's
Well,
32. He's not there going to be in their future. They need to
and
trade him. I've been
what's
saying that
wrong
for
with
2 years.
Pasquantino? I didn't see him all weekend.
He's hurt.
Oh.
He hurt his shoulder, his elbow, and the pickoff attempt. But yeah, they're 18 and 47, so they're terrible. Then you go to the AL West. Arguably the best team in baseball right now, the Texas Rangers, who have their offense is just unbelievable.
Murder,
They have
modern murderers row.
they've already scored 400 runs this year. Think of that, 400 runs this year. They have the best offense in baseball right now. 6-4 the last 10. Not the best winning
Seager's
percentage.
killing it
They got
since he come back.
The Angels coming up, and I predict they will beat the Angels because the Angels are getting a little too high over 500, so they're going to bring them back down to reality.
If
You
they
got,
can beat County,
you
we'll
got
see how good they hit.
you got the Houston Colt 45s at 37 and 29. They're playing the Washington Nationals. You got the LA Angels 36-31. Then you got Seattle, the always underachieving team that will let you down, 31 and 33. They got Oakland Athletics, who have surprisingly won 5 games in a row, coming against Tampa. So let's hope they keep that winning streak going. If you are a Baltimore Orioles fan, going to the NL East, you got the Atlanta Braves, 40 wins, 25 losses, 8-2 in their last 10. Miami Marlins, 37-29, with the best hitter in baseball, Luis Arraez, hitting over 400. Got the Phillies, 32-33, Mets, 31-35, and the Washington Nationals, 26 and 38. Going to the NL Central, we got the Pirates 34-30, Milwaukee Brewers at 34-32, the Reds at 31-35. Ellie De La Cruz made his debut. He hit a home run. I think he's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a much better O'Neill Cruz. Then you have the Cubs and the Cardinals, who I thought were making the turn, but I guess they took that back to the ground. So they are 3-7 in the last 10. Going over to the NL West, another good competitive division. You got the Arizona Diamondbacks, 40 wins, 25 losses. 37-29 for the Dodgers, 33-32 for the 49 for the Giants, the Padres 31-34, and then the Rockies at 27 and 40. Anything surprise you there, big dog? T-Bone?
No, it's pretty much what we expected, except the Pirates.
Yeah. And yeah.
I
Let's
thought the
take
Mets would be better.
I think we'll touch his stats real quick here, but I do want to touch on Luis Arraez for a second. So, what do you think his chances of hitting 400 this year are?
None.
You sure about that? In his last 15 games, you know what he's hitting? 15 games, so 60 at bats, a decent sample size. What do you think he's hitting?
420.
475, almost
Well,
500.
doesn't matter. He ain't no Tony Gwynn, dude.
Um,
Tony Gwynn couldn't do it. George Brett couldn't do it. They come close.
Luis Arraez has never had a season in his career under 300. He's never had a season he's hit okay, excuse me. In 2021, he hit 294. Apart from that, 334, 321, 316, and then 397. He's a career 326 hitter. You do not see that in baseball nowadays. He's the best pure hitter in baseball.
Yeah, since Tony Gwynn, maybe.
Yeah, well,
You never seen Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn was amazing.
I'm not discounting Tony Gwynn, but I'm just saying Arez, I think, is decent. I don't think he's going to hit 400, but I think he could probably hit 360, 370.
Yeah, you'll see it. These guys, first half they do this, that, and the other. Then when it gets hot every day, and then Miami starts playing like they usually do, starts losing. It gets
But
a little bit.
after Arez, we got Freddie Freeman, Acuna, Bichette hitting 317, Yandy Diaz. Looking over at the home runs, we're going through this burn through. We got Pete Alonso, 22, Aaron Judge, Jorge Soler, Muncy, Shohei Ohtani. Going to on base percentages, I think is probably the best one. Again, Luis Arez on base percentage 447. Lamont Wade 413. Freddie Freeman 413. Ryan Noda, surprisingly, with Ryan Noda, he's hitting 249, but his on base is 410.
Walks a lot, don't he?
45 walks. Why do people walk that, man? He can't hit the ball.
He's a
Just
Rule 5 guy too, I believe.
damn. But speaking of walks, who do you think the leader in walks is in the league?
Rushman.
Juan Soto has 56 walks in 65 games.
He
His
always
on,
walks a lot, though.
his on base is 406. Let's take a look real quick here at some of the rookie players because I think we got to touch on Gunnar Henderson. So the Gunnar Henderson started the season. I know we may even made a video saying something needs to happen with him because it just wasn't clicking. He looked lost. But what the turnaround he has done in his last 7 games, 24 bats, he's hitting 458, 7 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 home runs in his
Hell,
last
what's he hit in his last 15 games?
354, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. In his last 30 games, he's even hit 271. So he was hitting on the interstate before 2 weeks ago. Now he's
Damn
up to
near 240 now.
236, 9 home runs, 21 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. I said he's going to be a rookie of the year candidate, and I'm sticking by
with
that.
it.
Selma, the pride of Selma. There you go.
I think when we mentioned him before, he's known everywhere he's been. It's a slow starter, and then he goes crazy. And I mean, did you see the home run he hit today? 460 plus.
The longest. So they've been playing in Camden Yards in 96, 97, something like that.
93,
Oh,
92, 93.
and he hit the longest regular season home run in Camden Yards history today onto Utah Street. 462 foot. You never think a guy. He looks skinny, but he's 225 pounds. He ain't that skinny.
He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's a big boy.
6'3",
You know what?
225.
He's still 21 years old.
Yeah, and he will be 21 years old for about another 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, hey, right now he's 21. And he's coming. He's coming. He's a good fielder. I'm telling you, 5 years from now, you can say he's the best player or one of the top 5 players in baseball.
Yeah, I know.
In Baltimore, we'll have 2 of them. By that time, they'll have 3 of them on their team because Rutschman is the best all-around catcher in baseball, hands down, better than Real Muto.
I agree.
And then Jackson Holiday, who's going through his first slump since he's been playing. So let's see how he comes out of that.
Well,
I think all the way down to 330.
I'm a big Heston Kjerstad fan too. Huge.
Yeah, he got caught up AAA. It's good to see. And
already hit his first home run, which is inside the park run. Did you notice that?
When you speak of that, why if a guy's batting over 300, got 16 home runs in the minors, 50 plus RBI, can play outfield, any infield spot, why is he still in the minor leagues?
Well,
I'm not going to mention his name, but he's from Texas, and he's in the Orioles system. I'll just say that.
Yeah. But alrighty, well, that will do it for today's episode. T-Bone, if you want to give it a good sign off here, and then we can get going.
Well, that's all for this week in Brooks Knows Baseball. We'll catch you on the next episode. Good night, John Boy.
Bye, Chili Dog.